So today we're going to be looking at how to clean an Eheim 2213. This is a fish filter. It's a canister filter that a lot of fish have, and okay, so now we're in my basement, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean out this filter. This is the, again, Eheim 2213. And to first start off with, you're going to note that it's very hard to remove this. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to take off each one of the 4 clamps that are holding this in. Now, when you go to try to remove it, it's going to be pretty hard. The reason why is because there's suction in there holding this top piece in place. So what you want to do is you want to open the top valve. So when you open the top valve, it's going to let some air in there, which will allow you to easily remove the cap. I will tell you now, if you've been running this filter for a while, I would say a month or two, do expect to have some funky smells coming out of this. And I will tell you that this filter, I've heard people running this for 4, 5, 6 months at a time. I've even met somebody that's run this same filter on a tank for about 8 months. So it's a very good filter. Just expect when you're going to clean it, you are going to have some interesting smells, let's call it that. So what I'm going to do is going to open the valve, and that's going to allow air to come in, and it should then allow us just to pry off that. There we go. So we are going to pry it off. There we go. That's what the underside looks like. The filter, or no, sorry, not the filter, but the fins are actually inside of there. I'll show you how to clean that in a bit as well. I'm just going to put that to a side. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove the canister portion of it, which contains the filter. So here we go. Now, do expect this water to look dirty, because it is. And again, I do mention those funky smells, so just be wary of it. I'm going to take this portion here, I'm just going to move it into the other sink. It's a dual sink here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dump out this water right away, because it does have an odor to it, and I'm just going to get rid of that. I have a little hose connected to this, so I can kind of clean out the the basin of this tub fairly quickly. First thing I'm going to do is just turn on the water, let it flow, and then we'll pour out all this gunk. Now you will notice that there is a lot of black stuff in there. And you'll see in my filter here, there's also a lot of black stuff in there as well. Okay, so that is the breakdown of charcoal. That's what you're seeing there. So I'm just going to turn on the water a little bit more and just clean out the area there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill up this water in here and open this valve here so the water flows through this portion here. So what you're going to do is you're going to fill up the canister, and then the water will simply go down and out through the end of the hose on this end over here. Just go ahead and do that now. Now I'm purposely using hot water on purpose, so it will hopefully kill any bacteria that's in there and kind of put this canister back to a nice clean condition. So now when I think it's a good level, I'll just go ahead and open up this valve. Actually, there we go. Now we've got a nice steady flow on there. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there is a pretty good flow there. And again, clean up the work area here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pass the hose into here. Basically cleaning it both directions will ensure that if there is any debris in there, that you're kind of removing it and just shaking it about. Okay, so once you've done that, I'm just going to put that aside. And we're now going to look at this part here. Now, one thing that I recommend you do when you're dealing with this is you put something over the drain portion, so any of the things from your filter area doesn't go down your drain, doesn't clog up your drains. So I've just gone ahead and done that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to first remove this portion here. So to remove that, what you do is you turn it. Don't remember which way. There we go. So you turn it clockwise. Oh, sorry. Turn it the opposite way. And you'll take off the cap, which is here. Inside of there is the charcoal pad. So this here is the charcoal pad. You'll see that my hand is turning black. What you want to do is just throw that down and rinse it out. So I'm just going to let some water flow on that, clean it up. Again, I'm using hot water on purpose. Now in terms of the little charcoal bits, I'll explain where that comes from in just a second. So, in here, you'll see that I actually have charcoal. So, the reason for that is to reduce my cost on having to buy these charcoal discs. They do cost quite a bit, so I want to reduce my cost. And what I do is, instead, buy this stuff. So, first thing I'm going to do is empty that out. Get rid of that. That only lasts for a little bit, so you don't want to reuse charcoal. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to, this media is actually white. So it's got a lot of charcoal in there, or a lot of charcoal dust, as you can tell as I'm rinsing it out here. And you'll see that it is turning white as it's getting rid of that charcoal. So I'm just going to continue to rinse this out, and eventually it will become cleaner and cleaner as I'm doing it. So you'll see here eventually it will, looks like magic. It's like the Mr. Clean Eraser. So all this does here is it captures debris. So basically you can reuse this thing as many times as you want. And this is why I'm cleaning it now. Now, a lot of people will tell you, you know, not to clean it with regular tap water. I agree that a lot of people say, you know, not to clean it with regular tap water because it's going to kill your fish. Well, that's absolutely true, that you should not clean it with tap water, but here's one thing that some people don't know until they get to the end of the video. I'm going to clean this, as you're seeing now, and then I'm going to leave it and let it dry in the sun, or just simply dry out. Any chlorine that might have been in that water is going to be basically gone. It's going to be evaporated within 24 hours. So, this here is not the sheet that came with this filter. And the reason for that is because that pad was almost as thick as this. Maybe a little bit thicker, actually. So it's not very thick at all. So I went out and I bought fish floss. You can buy it from Big Al's, you can buy it from any kind of fish store, aquarium store, and you can get it on the cheap, in bulk. To give you an example of what I've purchased, just show you that in just a sec. Let me just wash my hands out here. I've bought it in basically a roll. So I have tons of fish floss, and it's called filter floss, and it's 40 square feet, and I bought it from Big Al's for $15. So I can basically cut myself a size about this big and use it as many times as I want. As it starts to degrade, simply throw it out and replace it with another one. This is the one that came originally with the actual filter. So this, you're really supposed to change this and remove it and replace it and buy a new one and yada yada yada. I've chosen not to do that. I've chosen to keep it and basically use it to prevent my active charcoal pebbles, which you can buy in a canister, and refill it as many times as you want. And if you look at my other YouTube videos, you will find that is actually probably one of the first or second videos that I've ever posted of what's the best way, what's the cheap way to continue to use this filter really on an economy type of budget. So this is the idea that I came up with, and it's proven. It does work, so I'm highly recommending it to everybody else. As you can tell, it does become a bit of a mess, but here's the good thing. The charcoal that you see in this tub here eventually will break down, and in fact, charcoal is good for your pipes. This is the exact same type of material they use in filters on your tap, on your fridges, the Brita water filters. It's activated carbon, and this is exactly the same thing here. So in a way, it's purifying your water as it's leaving your house through your pipes. So that's what that stuff is. I'm going to let that go down the drain. Not a big deal. It is eventually going to deteriorate and break down, so it's not a big deal. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually wash out this tub, because then I'm going to take all the other stuff out of this canister. So I'll just go ahead and rinse out this area. So I'm going to remove that grill that I had on the drainage. Just rinse all this out. Down the drain we go. Okay. Now that that's gone down the drain, I'm going to put my catcher back on the drainage there. I'm just going to pour out all of that stuff. A bit more in there as well. Grab that. Okay, so this is layer 1 of the medium in your fish filter. This stuff here, you can wash this in tap water, or a lot of people, what they do is they take back this canister and they fill it with water from their fish tank. So they're basically cleaning this material with aquarium water. I'm choosing not to do that. I'm going to clean this with regular tap water. It doesn't do any damage to it, but depending on how you want to do it, you can do it this way, or you can use aquarium water. I'm choosing to use the tap water. So basically, all I'm going to do is just throw some water on it, and you'll eventually see that activated carbon just kind of seep out of the filter, or out of the filter medium. That's all I'm doing is I'm just going to swish it around a bit, and that will kind of clean it up. So, once I've done that, basically I just want to move it around. Any kind of debris that might be in there, it's gonna agitate it, and it's gonna basically break it off of the filter media here. So I'm just gonna continue to do that. As the water drains out. Once I'm satisfied with that, I can then take this canister now, and you'll see that there's a bit of debris still on the bottom there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean that out a bit. Basically, you just want to get your hand in there and just move all that stuff around. Just kind of get any kind of slime that's on the side of the walls. Just going to clean that off a bit. So in this filter there is a couple of nooks and crannies in there, so you want to make sure you get your hand in as many places as you can and just kind of clean up that filter. Once you've done that, then you can dump that out. So I'm just going to dump that out in the other sink here. Okay. Once you've done that, then you can take this stuff here that's kind of been drying out. You want to add it into this canister. So this stuff here is eventually going to be going to break down. So you do want to replace these, but I will tell you that they last a pretty good while. So I wouldn't be too worried about having to replace these. Basically, when you're replacing anything on this particular filter, your items that you're going to be replacing is basically your carbon as well as your white foam. And as I've already mentioned to you, that white foam, you can just take a pair of scissors, cut it down to size, and add it into your filter using filter floss. No, not fish floss. Fish don't have teeth. Well, unless, well, actually no, some of them do. Piranhas, for example. But I'm sure they don't sit there and floss with their fins. So, yeah. I'm just talking, so whatever. Amuse me. Feel free to put some comments in there about fish floss. So you want to get every little bit of that stuff in there. So as I said before, the activated carbon, no need to worry about that stuff going down your drain, but the other medium that I just took out of there, that stuff does take some time to break down, so you don't want to get that stuck in your drains. So I'm just going to, again, rinse out my my work area here. Okay. Once that's ready, put my drain catcher there. And the next part is going to be the smelly part. What we're going to take out of here is another filter that sits in between this medium, and that's going to be the part that's going to be pretty dirty. Now this dirt is actually fish waste, so you do want to wash that out almost immediately. So I'm going to turn on my water here. So when I turn that water on, I'm just going to lift this up, just put it in there. Actually, most of that is just the carbon. So you'll notice that it was black. Now it's blue. Again, that's probably the activated carbon that you're seeing there. It might be a bit of debris from fish matter, but from the looks of it, it looks mostly like the activated carbon. So what you want to do is you want to Again, do the same thing we did with the white filter, and just rinse that out. So again, you can use tap water on this. You can use aquarium water. Either of the two will do the job. No need to worry about killing good bacteria on this. So once we've done that, just going to put that aside. And then again, rinse out my work area. A lot of people are going to say how, why am I cleaning my work area so much? Well, I don't know. I just rather have it clean. So, this here is the stuff that you want to clean with aquarium water. This is the stuff that's covered with beneficial bacteria. Now you'll see in here a lot of activated carbon. A lot of activated carbon particles or debris. That's because this filter has been sitting for a while. It's been sitting for maybe a month, unused. So the activated carbon in here has probably broken down. It's seeped onto the bottom. The good bacteria, the beneficial bacteria, does no longer exist. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spill this out and clean it with regular tap water. So you'll see what the inside of there looks like, and you'll see little bits of activated carbon that has seeped down into the bottom, which we'll clean in just a second. This here is typically covered with beneficial bacteria. This is the stuff that you want to clean in your aquarium water. After you clean it in your aquarium water, you want to take that same water and fill it back into the canister. I know it seems kind of disgusting, and why clean the filter when you're going to put the dirty water back inside? It's because most of these other filters here is what collects the bad stuff. It collects all that debris from the fish waste. So you want to keep this water when you're cleaning it with the fish tank water. On the other hand, the other option is to basically throw that water away, take fresh water, sorry, not fresh, but take water, basically not the water you clean this stuff with, but water from your tank, pour it into the canister, and let it cycle for a bit. You will still have the beneficial bacteria in here, but just not as much. So you want to be careful of how you're doing it. You want to be careful of having too much stress on your fish. So what I'm going to do is, as I said, I'm going to wash these out with regular tap water. Now this stuff here, you don't want to go down your drain. This is really not going to break down. So if this goes down your drain, you should go in and find it. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm just going to agitate, get as much debris out of there as possible. Now, you will sometimes come across parts that have broken off, like this here. Don't throw it out. Keep it, because the beneficial bacteria loves this medium. So no matter how small it is, you basically want to keep it. You want to keep it because it costs a lot of money to replace this stuff. Okay, so you don't want to be throwing it out. just willy-nilly. You want to keep as much of it as possible. So I've gone ahead and I've already kind of washed these out. It's some of them are a bit cleaner than others. I'm not too worried about it too much. So those are ready to go. Next thing I want to do is clean this thing here out. So again, tap water. Just go in and just kind of rinse it out. And as you can tell, just by swishing around some water, that activated carbon is basically just being washed out. So you do want to still get in there with your hands and just clean as much as you can, because not all of it is going to be clean with water. Okay, so after you've done that, you may have already forgotten about the cap that goes on it, so you want to go back and clean that off, because we didn't clean it the first time, and just knock out any kind of stuff that might be in there. So any activated carbon, or any carbon that's was there from a previous change of cleaning, you want to try to get out of there, because it's no good. It's not going to do anything for you except for take up space when you could be using it for the activated carbon, the good stuff. So I've already gone ahead and cleaned that out. Looks a little better now. I'm just going to remove that drain catcher for a bit and clean up the area again. Get rid of all the activated carbon. Okay, so next thing we want to do is, now that we clean this, of course there's one piece left, there we go. Now that we've cleaned this, we can again put this media back in. That's exactly where it goes. It goes on the bottom of it. Go ahead and throw that in there. So again, all these little bits and pieces, you want to throw them in there as well. So just want to swish it around, make sure it's nice and even. Once you've done that, then you can add your blue filter back inside. So I'm just going to go ahead and stuff that in there. The next piece you want to add back in are those round balls that you saw earlier. So that's why you actually keep that drain catcher on there. So when those balls come flying out of the canister, they don't go down your drain. So now that we've got that on there, I'm just going to put that aside again. I'm going to come back to this green canister. I'm just going to give it another wash. And swish that around and clean that up a bit. Okay, so if you remember, we turned this before to open up the valve. You want to now close that valve and keep it closed. So here comes the interesting part. So this activated carbon filter has already dried out quite a bit. There might be some bits of water in there still, but I'm not too worried about it. This fish floss, I continue to call it fish floss, this filter floss has dried out a bit, but again, still does have some water in it, so not a big deal. You can choose to let it dry out and then add it in after it's dried. So what I'm going to do now is basically cut the video now, and we're going to go back and we're going to get the activated charcoal, put the charcoal in here, and start up the process of rebuilding this filter so that it's ready to be put back into the aquarium. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the activated carbon that I use. This is a Marineland carbon. It's premium activated carbon. Basically, you get a big canister of this. This here is 1,134 grams. A lot of activated carbon in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out a bit of activated carbon and add that into my aquarium. Now, one thing you want to do is whenever you take the cap off of this, you want to put it back on real quick, because the more the activated carbon is exposed to the air, the quicker it will actually start to go bad, basically. So what I want to do is start off by having the canister here ready to go. I'm going to take my white foam, insert it in there, kind of push everything down as much as possible, and then I want to put my activated carbon right here on top of it. Once I put it on top of it, I'm then going to take my activated charcoal pad, cover it up, therefore it will be in this nice little capsule. Now obviously, as you saw when I cleaned it, some of it did seep down to the bottom. Not a big deal. You know, it's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to clog up anything because it's basically just debris. So I would say, you know, don't worry about it. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've gotten some carbon here, activated carbon. And what I'm going to do is just going to put it in the center of there. Now that's not too much. That's basically half of one of these baby jar type things. So what you want to do is you want to put approximately an entire jar. Now, you don't need to use all of that. I'm choosing to use that much, but it doesn't hurt to have more. I wouldn't suggest more than what I put in, but completely up to you. Then we're going to take the pad, the carbon pad, put that back on top. Take this piece, lock that in place. Now that is ready to go. That's what it looks like when you're holding it on the side. After that, then I'm going to slip it into here. And what you want to do in this case, because this filter wasn't in use for a while, I've cleaned out everything. But if you're putting this back into your aquarium, you want to fill this back up with aquarium water. You can then let it sit, okay? Because we haven't finished this yet. You thought we were finished, eh? So, remember this sucker? So what we want to do is we want to clean this too. So you'll see over here, this is where the fin is that circulates the entire thing. So you'll see here, this is the pin. What you want to do is clean this pin. Okay, because it does get dirty, as you can tell. You can see all the dirt coming off my hand. So you want to clean that out. Just going to turn the water on a bit. Just clean that out. Now some people prefer to take this entire thing off. I'm choosing not to do that today. Once you've done that, then you can click it back in. And I'm just going to clean the top of this just a bit. So let's go like that. Okay, now you do want to be careful because this is an electrical item as well. So you just want to put as little water on the outside as possible. So I'm just basically just wiping it down with any kind of water that might be still there, and then just rinse off that. Okay, once we've done that, you want to put your aquarium water in here. Now in my case, as I've already mentioned, the water that I have, I don't have the aquarium set up as yet, but what I'm going to choose to do is I'm going to go out and I'm going to go to a local fish store. So you know, there's whichever one you favor, and I'm basically going to go there and I'm going to ask them for some aquarium water. They may give it to you, they may not. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to take that aquarium water that they've given you and add it to this. That will start up that beneficial bacteria on the bottom. That's a really good way to get a cycle started, is take water from a fish tank, from another fish tank that's being active. Now, your local fish tank, your local fish store, you want to make sure they have good quality water. Right? You don't want to get it from some place that you see dead fish floating all the time. So it's not a really good idea to buy it from them or to get it from them. Now, if you know, they don't give you the water, then certainly you can purchase something. You can purchase maybe a goldfish. You know, goldfish are typically, other people call them feeder fish. So the idea comes from, you basically take the goldfish, put it in a little fish bowl. You're going to use the water, and your feeder fish, you can give it off to somebody else. You know, a lot of people know other people in the fish community. You can give the feeder fish to somebody else. What did it cost you? 50 cents, because the feeder fish only cost 50 cents. So I think that might be even less than that. But basically what you want to do is get the aquarium water. So once you add the aquarium water into here, you can then start your cycling on that process. So assume we have the fish water in, or the aquarium water in here. What you're then going to do is close it up. You want to line up the top piece with the bottom, put the cap on the top of it, and then lock in place these bits and pieces here. Take it back to where your fish tank is, connect everything up, start your filter back up. That's basically how you clean your Eheim 2213 filter and set it back up. If you have any questions or comments about the video, please do post them. I appreciate everybody's comments about them. If you have any questions, I try to answer them fairly quickly. So feel free to subscribe if you do feel so inclined. I do appreciate anybody's feedback or suggestions they might have. Thanks again for watching.